Now we're going to demonstrate the installation of the Turnstyle pillar mount gate mounting system, but utilizing gate mounting brackets to attach your gate to the operator.
For demonstrative purposes, today we've chosen wood pillars. At home you can have masonry, concrete, virtually any material that you've already chosen for your pillars.
But I want to tell you a few things before, because there are a few things that you need to consider before you either purchase your gate or actually install your columns. When you're installing your gate, you have to take into consideration the size of your gate. Your operator will actually take up 5.5 inches from the pillar to the edge of your gate, which that includes your pillar mounting brackets, your gate operator, and the gate mounting brackets that attach your gate to the operator, which we'll show you that once we install that. And that will go up to 5.5 inches here. Another factor that you need to take into consideration is the height of your column. You have to make sure that you have at least 3 inches on the top and bottom of your operator available on your column to mount your operator and your pillar mount brackets. Today we're going to mount a 5-foot operator, and so I need to make sure that I have at least 66 inches, my 5-foot operator, plus 3 inches on the top, 3 inches on the bottom, so that's 66 inches, and my column is definitely high enough because 66 inches takes me to here, so I have plenty of room.
The first step today is to install the bottom bracket. You want to make sure that you start out on the higher ground, and you're going to place your bracket approximately 1 inch above ground level. You can either use a square or a level to make sure that you are square to the post. And at this time, go ahead and pre-mark your pilot holes.
And today we're using 3/8 inch by 4 inch lag screws and a 5/16 wood drill bit. Based on the type of column that we're going to be mounting our operator to, you may have masonry, you may have brick, but you'll want to make sure that you use the correct drill bit that corresponds to your pillar or post.
Now that we have our bottom bracket installed, it is now time to install the gate operator. We're going to go ahead and I'll guide this on, making sure that we don't pinch this cord or pull the cord out. We're going to go ahead and get this pretty straight to our post.
And the operator just sits on the bottom bracket.
Now, what we're going to do, also right here on the pivot detail, we want to make sure we have wheel bearing grease that you're going to kind of give a generous amount to. And then we'll go ahead and we'll take our top bracket, set this right on top of our pivot detail, set it against your post. And again, you're going to want to make sure that you have your top bracket square to the post. You can, again, using a square or a level. And I think that looks pretty good, Sherry. So go ahead and mark those holes for me if you don't mind. Great. Now, we're going to go ahead and we'll take off this top bracket. And we can just kind of move that to the side a little bit. And again, we're just going to go ahead and drill our pilot holes.
At this point, we're finishing the installation of the operator on this side. After we get the lag screws in, we're going to go ahead and mount the other side. Using a string level, we've mounted the bottom bracket on the other column, and you can see that it is perfectly level, so our gates are going to be perfectly lined up. Now we're ready to mount our steel wrought iron gate onto our gate operator with our unicorn brackets. One thing that you want to make sure is that with your operator, these pre-drilled holes are going to accept the unicorn bracket. You want to make sure that they are in the position towards where your gates are going to be located. So let me mount the bracket with the socket screws that are provided in your package.
Okay, Sherry, let's get this gate put on. Now, what's easiest when you're doing this is that you get it put on evenly, and it should just slide right in. And
Like
at this time, you're going to go ahead and put a washer and a nut on the top bolt and the bottom bolt. Right now we're just going to hand tighten them, and then we'll be using the wrench to make sure that they're good and tight. And these are the adjustment bolts. There, I think we're halfway done.
It's on. At this point, our gate is installed and it is a freely swinging manual gate. Because it is a power gate, I need to attach the clamp onto the bottom and tighten it to be able to adjust for power. The collar clamp is attached using the provided socket-headed bolts. Now that we've attached the collar clamp to the bottom of the operator, I've tightened it. Now we're going to apply power to the operator so I can determine what direction it's going to move.
And before I do this, you want to make sure that we're not going to permanently attach these wires to the control board. For testing purposes, we're going to go ahead and just place these wires directly on the battery.
Okay, so go ahead, Judy. And it's going to move. We don't know what way it's going to move when we first put power to it, and it's always going to have a 90-degree swing. So that is our end of our swing. And so since I want it to move back away from us, and I want my 90 degrees to be back this direction, I am going to loosen the collar clamp. So now it'll move manually. I'm going to put this right in the center where I want it, and then tighten it back up, attach power to it again, and then my 90-degree swing will be this direction rather than this direction. So I'm going to place this in the center and tighten it back up again because we're going to place power to it again and see if our 90-degree swing comes this direction and ends up right back in the center again. All right, Judy.
Okay, you ready?
Yep, let me get out of the way.
All righty.
So our 90-degree swing is away, and hopefully it'll end up right there. Awesome.
You want to close
Yeah,
again?
close it again.
All
Let me
righty.
just see, and let me make sure that it ends right here in the center. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. Perfect. We've installed our gates. We've done the final adjustments. They're aligned perfectly and working properly. And we've also installed a power bolt lock. We've installed our gates. We've installed a power bolt lock, and we've actually added some lights as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the sequence of events. When I push my remote, what should happen is the power bolt lock should throw and the light should come on at the same time. The gate should open. I also have it set up on an automatic close. There should be 7 seconds of delay time, and then it should close by itself. When it closes, after it closes completely, the power bolt will throw and the lights will then go off. Let's see if it works. Judy, why don't we recap the installation while we're waiting for the gates to open and close, since it's on an automatic closure?
Okay. Again, we have a pillar mount system here, so we're going to go ahead and we placed our first bracket in, and at that time we took our gate operator, sat it into our first bracket, installed our second bracket, and at that time we attached our unicorn gate bracket into our gate and mounted that on there. And once that was done, we repeated it and did it to the other side, and we went ahead and made our manual adjustments at that time. And the next step was to hardwire it into our electronics box, and we were all set.
And you know what? It's really nice to come home, hit your remote, have everything work every time.